Roxo Media House.
Would have counted or not, right as the shot clock was expiring. Didn't go in nonetheless. And ball, Peavy! 9 points for Micah Peavy. Peavy, he's an energizer bunny. He's making shots today.
You are in the State of the Frogs with head coach Jamie Dixon. Brought to you by Railhead Smokehouse, Hub International, Dave's Hot Chicken, by Texas Health Resources, the Flying Tea Club, and by Cadillac. Now with the head coach, here is the voice of the Frogs, Brian Estridge.
State of the Frogs starts right now with the head coach, Jamie Dixon. He's alongside. Frogs with a big week coming up. Got Iowa State on Wednesday night, Oklahoma State on Saturday here at Schollmeyer Arena. We got a lot we got to get into with the head coach right now. Coach Dixon's with us. First of all, I want to talk about that last outing against Baylor. I want to start with kudos for the crowd, student body, and everyone else. It was a great atmosphere here in the arena.
Well, it's obviously the students are back in town, and it's the crowds have been great, and obviously we've had some weather from a lot of our home games this year, but some challenges. But certainly, crowd was great. Fans were great. We gave them a good show for about 36 minutes. We didn't get it done down the stretch, and that's I'm really disappointed for our fans that really showed out. And our students have been tremendous, and it's amazing how many students we're getting for games, considering our size.
Yeah, I want to get into the game in just a second. A couple other notes from that one. It was fun to see the one guy. There was one guy in the stands. I glanced up at him to see how intense he was late in that game, and see Kurt Thomas, the Hall of Famer, up there into it. And then Dr. Cash and his group from 1968 recognized the Southwest Conference champions.
Yeah, they were part of it, and we knew they were coming. I talked to Dr. Cash a few times as we were setting that up. So that's a group that really, obviously I've known Dr. Cash before I got back here, but I've really got to know over the years, and they're when a winning team, they stick together, as I've always said with our guys. These guys are gonna be friends for life, and it's a great example of that. So like my teammates, I was gonna say, it's the same thing, and look forward to telling old stories.
Yeah, your guys still come around. I love that. Yeah, they're checking it out. All right, let's dive into the game. Let's start with that Baylor game. I was just talking to Emmanuel Miller earlier off air about how I thought, man, the effort, the energy, it was a focal point to get to the backboard to grab rebounds. I mean, your guys laid it on the line.
We did, and we worked on it, and we've been working on it. Let's make that clear. But we got out, we dominated the glass, and we were up 11 at one point with about 8 minutes left. And we didn't get it done. We didn't continue it. It went the other way. Now, obviously, we won by 5 on the glass, but those rebounds down the stretch, and some we got that we didn't ending up with the possession, saving it out of bounds, those type of things. So we really just didn't come up with the loose balls down the stretch, and missed some free throws. Obviously, I think we missed our last 5. It makes it a challenge, and we did some things just not to get it done. So that's how you can have a 10-point lead with 10 minutes left or so, and it can get away from you. And you can't have it happen again. We had a great 30 minutes. Put ourselves in position against a good team, and had a chance to sweep Baylor, and we didn't get it done. So that's on me, and our execution's got to be better down the stretch. Our defense got to be better. We got to make free throws, and we got to rebound better.
Those free throws you talked about, those were missed by guys who you would count
on,
too.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, that you get your best shooters at the line. Yeah. They don't go in. That really puts you in and actually, we're subbing for that reason too, and having them in there, knowing you're going to be a bonus, knowing you're going to be shooting free throws. So, a lot of things that we tried to do that seemed like the right thing to do didn't work out. Our defense, what defensive coverage we were in, it had worked for prior to that. Didn't work down the stretch, to be honest with you, and it's something I got to look at and put on my plate.
You went late in the game. You went into the full court pressure kind of scramble mode. I thought you did a pretty good job with it. Yeah, no. You were creating turnovers. You're getting opportunities
and deflections. And obviously there was some close calls there. It didn't seem to go our way, but we practice it every day, and sometimes I wish we would do it better in practice. And then you see it go in the game, and you see the aggressiveness that you need, and in that situation. So it was all things we had done before. You don't see it a lot in the games, but we had them ready. We've practiced it, our different presses that we have, and that more aggressive press helped us obviously down the stretch. We pressed early in the game and we kind of got hurt by it. And so, there's that balance, and we've got to keep improving in it as well to change up defenses a little bit more.
Still not at full strength. You didn't have Eddie. You didn't have Mike Miles. Chuck O'Bannon was under the weather a little bit too.
Yeah, he didn't practice. We've gone the whole show and we mentioned the obvious. It's a challenge that other teams aren't facing. We've got to get through it, and we've got to. We've got a win without them, but we didn't get enough, to be honest with you. And so we've got to figure out a way when they get back to be better because of it.
Yeah, Damian Ball. We would be remiss if we didn't mention him. 16 points, 10 assists. 7 rebounds. I mean, he was flirting with a triple-double. I thought he was excellent.
No, he really was. I thought his decision-making was tremendous.
Yes. One turnover,
As you say, got in the lane, didn't go over-penetrate, got off it, made simple plays, passes, played really good. And he played good defense, too. I mean, he had a really, really good game. And, there's a lot on him. All of a sudden you take Mike out of there, and you've got him playing a little bit more minutes maybe than we would normally like to see. But this is a situation we're in. So everybody's had to adjust with the 2 guys out and other guys being kind of in and out in addition to those. So, there's been some challenges.
Yeah, the game prior to that, by the way, was at Kansas State. Well, that was a tough atmosphere, too. Bramlage, it was full, and they were revved up for that one.
Yeah, no, and, we got off where we, I thought, could have defended really well early, had a chance to build a bigger lead than we actually had, and I thought not finishing some layups caught up to us, some baskets, some shots, open shots, and we do got to shoot the ball a little bit better. I like our shot selection. We shot 53% against Baylor. We're doing some good things. We just haven't got it done in these last 2 games, as we've discussed. And you got to get it done. And there's no excuses anymore. And we can't. We got to get it done with the guys we got.
And by the way, you're also playing in the toughest league that we've talked about time and time again. Just take a look at what happened last week in Texas Tech. Wins at home against that same Kansas State team. That tells you a little bit about this league.
Well, yeah, it's you're going to get somebody good on. You have to look at the schedule, and we've got to be ready for Iowa State now. And this is what we signed up for. Our defensive rebounding has got to be the constant. I think we've made some good strides offensively in putting ourselves in position. Obviously, without 2 starters. We've got to finish it off on the glass and get more possessions.
All right, speaking of Iowa State, Coach will be back a little bit later on. We'll start to break down that matchup with the Cyclones that happens on Wednesday night in Ames. Look ahead as well to Oklahoma State on Saturday. We do that when State of the Frogs continues after this timeout.
This is Cowtown Headache Center, a neurology clinic that specializes in headache medicine. We offer standard oral medications, we offer trigger point injections, we offer multiple nerve blocks, we offer infusions both for prevention medication and for acute relief. My name is Andrew Levere. I'm a physician assistant that has a special certification from the National Headache Foundation in headache medicine. Patients are pretty shocked when I tell them we have tons of options for them and that we can do better than what they're doing. I don't just tell you, here's one medicine we're going to try. I'll give them options, and then ultimately we choose together as the provider and patient. It's very satisfying to know that we're changing people's lives.
The Hubfort Worth family is a passionate, energetic team of insurance professionals that have the same common goal in mind: helping businesses and individuals protect their health, property, and financial well-being. Their objective is to maximize the options available to businesses, families, and individuals while helping you make the choices that suit each unique situation and challenge. Their clients look to them for guidance in navigating the cumbersome world of insurance and investments. Their experience and personal relationships combined with their creativity enables them to craft solutions that fit your specific circumstances. Their guiding principle is, don't tell me how much you know, just show me how much you care. Since their founding in 1966, they've enhanced their offerings to include a comprehensive range of services, including employee benefits, property and casualty, and personal lines insurance. Follow them and learn more on their social media pages. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Hubfort Worth.
Welcome back into State of the Frogs with head coach Jamie Dixon. He'll be back here in just a couple of minutes. We'll start previewing the matchup with Iowa State on Wednesday, then Oklahoma State coming up on Saturday. Right now it's time for our one-play breakdown, Bingo's breakdown, if you will. Bingo Merriex is with us. Before we get into this, one of the things that we saw late in that Baylor game was some spacing issues for the Horned Frogs. In fact, I think Damian Ball, you probably saw him out front directing traffic, moving guys around. Interesting that 36 minutes into the game, you had spacing issues. What causes that?
Well, with Mike Miles being out of the game, a lot of times teams can kind of sag down just a little more and pack the paint. So it's kind of harder for the Frogs to kind of penetrate the paint because Mike Miles, what he's good at is getting down, breaking the teams down, and kicking out. Without him on the court, a lot of times Damian Ball is having to do the bulk of the work by himself. And Baylor, they did a good job of keying in on him, so that's why he was having to direct traffic a little bit more and get more of that spacing. If you have Mike Miles out there to help him as well, now the defense has to come out a little more, and so that opens up the spacing for the offense.
One of the things that Jamie talked about just a second ago was the fact that they're not a great three-point shooting team. That hurts you as far as spacing is concerned as well, right? Because teams can back off of you if they're not threatened by your three.
That's true, and also what the Frogs are good at, they're not a good three-point shooting team, but they're great in transition and getting out, so that makes up for that. But as I said before, when you're without Mike Miles, that transition game slows down a little bit because you have a Micah Peavy or maybe Chuck that is not used to running the break like Mike and Damian is. So it definitely allows teams to pack the paint a little more. And Baylor was making shots, and it's hard to run transition when you're getting the ball out of the net.
Here's the other thing, too, that you've had now 13 different starting lineups. Late in that game against Baylor, they went small with Jacoby Coles playing the 5. So you got some guys that aren't necessarily comfortable in their spots. That affects spacing as well, doesn't it?
It definitely affects spacing as well. Jacoby Coles is definitely not a 5. We all know this for sure. And you use these kind of lineups for only a few minutes. He played extended minutes at the 5, and after a while you get kind of fatigued because you're banging with the big man, you're down there trying to rebound. Now those shots are not falling as they usually do because you're also tired. We're trying to rebound down there in the paint. It's a big difference when the rebound is coming along and you're able to get it and go out and run, as opposed to when you have to box out more, keep the big man off, and grab the rebound as well.
Yeah, it's a fine line because Jacoby Coles can score on 5s, but you worry about what do you give up defensively at the 5, right? So you got to kind of balance all that.
You have to balance it all, and in balance, you also have to think about the weight class.
Yes.
These big men now are probably outweighing him maybe 15 to sometimes 20 pounds because these are big guys, and the workout programs and everything, these guys are adding on more muscle than fat. So it's definitely a lot harder to bang down there in the post.
Bingo Merriex, as a sophomore for Billy Tubbs, didn't like playing the 5. Bingo Merriex, 15 years overseas, you didn't mind playing the 5, did you?
It was a big difference because the game was evolving and changing.
Right.
When I played with Billy Tubbs, it was more so a wing or a guard type position, and I probably weighed 200 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
And so going overseas and playing more of a 4 and a 5 position, these are grown men you're playing against. So I had to, if I wanted to play extended years overseas, I had to add some weight and get stronger down in the post. Now in high school, it's totally different. Everybody's wiry and skinny, so you can play in the post no problem and use your athleticism. But when it comes to strength, getting pushed all the way off the block, you're not going to be able to post up.
Did you play the 5 in high school?
I did. I actually played the 5 because I was the tallest on the team.
Right.
And so back in those days, it was more so about height and not about size.
Right.
And so if you were 6'7" or above, you was definitely playing a 5 back in the day.
But you'd step out still.
I definitely would step out. The coach never told me not to shoot, but he didn't tell me to shoot as well.
I like it. All right, let's go to the board here because I want to break down spacing and some of the principles that TCU follows. Give me some sense of what the perfect scenario for TCU is.
Well, I think the perfect scenario at first is they want to do the wide slots. They have the wide slots, so they stay out here keeping it wide that way, so when they have room for penetration. So when they're penetrating the ball, they have areas to drive in, so as they're driving, the area is open for the spacing. So the guards and even the wings, they know to stay out wide to allow Damian, to allow Mike to be able to penetrate, because they know if they're open for the penetration, if their defensive man, if they help, they know they're going to get the ball. See, Mike, what they're good at is penetrating and making their defense commit to the last minute, and they're good at drop-offs. That's how Eddie gets a lot of his points, because he's getting drop-offs right to the basket. So also, when you start to play the drop-offs, now say Damian Ball, he's so good at making that cross-court pass, we call it a rondo pass maybe. He gets in the paint and he throws that hook pass kind of over. So you have your Chuck O'Bannons, you have your Emmanuel Millers out here on the wings, on the corners right here, ready for that jump shot. And that's all about spacing. If he comes in too close, a lot of times we'll see, because Shahadi Wells, he's good at this as well. Sometimes Shahadi, he'll get so deep into the paint, we'll see that pass go far over and it'll be like, oh, it'll be too far over in that corner, because he's expecting them to stay out there, because that's the spacing that Coach Dixon preaches about. But a lot of times we think because he's so athletic, he's going to go up and shoot the ball. So they come in for the rebound, but he's still trying to make that pass out.
That happened against Baylor on Saturday. That's one ended up in the third row.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
I remember that. All right, so you're talking about these guys staying wide. You want these two guys to stay wide.
Right.
When they penetrate, these defenders then have a decision to make,
They
right?
have a decision to make, for
and
sure.
so when we see Emmanuel Miller or Chuck O'Bannon on the baseline, that's because these guys have started wide, then, is what you're telling me.
Exactly. And when these guys start in the penetration, they also have a term that they like to use called stampeding. So what they do is, say the guy that catches the ball right here, whether it be Mike or Damian, when they're penetrating to the strong side, they're coming to the strong side, so this wing, this corner over here, they have to make a decision. So in stampeding, what they're taught to do as they're driving to the strong side, they watch their defender. So if their defender helps, what they're taught to do is just curl right behind either Mike or Damian, and so they're coming to the basket. Either they got that dump off pass, and if they pass it off, they just fill to the corner. And so they like to stampede, because that confuses the defense a lot as well. And having spacing, you have to be wide and you have to wait for that penetration to come, because if you come too early, it's going to be cluttered and the traffic is going to be jammed in there and you can't get the ball, and that's where turnovers come sometimes.
We have seen this a couple of times too, where defenses have switched here defensively, where this guy does come and help out. He'll leave to try to cover the guy in the corner.
Exactly.
He sloughs over to try to cover and then all of a sudden you got a lob, right?
You got a lob right there. Or let's say shot clock's running down and they do try to take a shot. With that shot going up, you have your four-man over here, your guy that's over here that's coming free. You see a lot of tip dunks. You see X, he gets a lot of tip dunks. Michael Peavy is able to do it, and Emmanuel Miller also. They get a lot of tip dunks off that because they're coming free to the rim and nobody's boxing them out. And they were athletic enough to get that off the rim.
When we see penetration by Damian or Mike, the off guy, the off guard, they want them staying outside of the three-point arc. They want them staying back, right?
They definitely want them staying back, but they also want them to pay attention to the spacing. This is where the spacing is definitely important, because if Mike is driving this way, let's say he shifts the defense the other way, coming to the middle. What Damian Ball, or what the guy that's up here that's taught to do, is to fill out and give him that room to be able to operate. And Mike is so good at just passing the ball off at the right time. If that spacing is perfect for him, it's almost unguardable.
Yeah, it's like an orchestra. I mean, all these pieces have to move in unison, right?
Right.
In order to keep that spacing.
Definitely. And like we always talk about, Coach Dixon is a mastermind at teaching spacing. So when we see this breakdown, we see the guys are pretty much mostly all the time in the right position. When the TCU offense breaks down, it's because the spacing is pretty much bad, and so the defense is able to pack. And as you said, we're not really a good three-point shooting team. So that breaks our offense down and makes it stagnant, and that's when we go on those droughts where we might not score for maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Gotcha. All right, one other thing I want to touch on, because you told me before, they talk about the X essentially, and that the X is the X the drive?
The X is with the defense. They want to stretch the X.
Okay.
Because when Mike and Damian are breaking the defense down, what they want to do is get into a 2-on-1 situation below the free throw line, to where that defender, who's the X-man, has to make a decision.
Gotcha.
He has to make a decision to either guard the ball or stay with the corner guy over here in your corner. And so they call it stretching the X, because the defense is having to make a decision, and they're stretching him either one way or the other. So if I come this way, I'm going this way. And if you go that way, I'm still going this way.
Yeah, so you know Coach David Bowden goes to this and he draws up football plays, so he's going to say this is, you either got the pitch or you got the quarterback, right? So that's kind of the same thing. What are you going to take on the option?
Well, it's like, that's Mike Vick, that's Coach Bowden, that's his expertise. So I wouldn't know much about that for sure.
But right now, though, we know that spacing is important for TCU's offense if it's going to be successful.
Exactly.
I got it.
Sure.
Thank you, man.
My man.
Bingo, breaking it down for us here. We got more to come, including a preview of Oklahoma State and Iowa State. That's the next two for the Horned Frogs. We'll get into that when State of the Frogs with Jamie Dixon continues after this time.
Simply the best barbecue in Fort Worth. Dine in, catering, or drive-through. 2900 Montgomery, just off I-30. Remember, the best barbecue in Fort Worth is at Railhead Smokehouse.
For exclusive interviews and content on TCU recruits, subscribe now at frogstoday.com. Any sport, anytime. It's your source for all things TCU. Only on frogstoday.com.
State of the Frogs continues right now. We're going to dive a little deeper into the program. We always enjoy having one of our guys stop by, Emmanuel Miller, kind enough to do it right now from Scarborough, Ontario. I got that right, man.
Yeah.
How are you, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing good.
Yeah, ready to get back out on the trail now and get some W's, huh? You got Iowa State coming up Wednesday night.
Yeah, we're looking forward to Iowa State. Before Iowa State, it starts with practice, so I think I'm excited for our practice today before Iowa State.
Yeah, ready to get back out there as we talked about it. It's been a tough stretch here, been undermanned, without Mike and without Eddie. I thought the effort, though, the other night against Baylor was there. I thought you guys got after him.
Yeah, I think from the jump, from the very tip-off, I think collectively as a group, we knew that it was going to be a fight. Every game in the Big 12 is always a fight. So I think we did a great job of fighting and competing throughout the course of the game. I just think towards the end of the stretch, we could have done a better job of composing our will.
Yeah, I tell you, the other thing was that there was a concerted effort rebounding the other night against Baylor. I mean, all you guys were trying to get to the glass.
Yeah, Baylor does a great job of rebounding the ball, both offensively and defensively. So we knew from the jump that if we don't hit, it's going to be a long night. And we know what we're capable of, being the best rebounder team last year and trying to slowly progress back to that. So I think we did a great job of just taking away what they do best.
Emmanuel, you think about what happened that night. Obviously, it was the loss to Baylor, but Damian Baugh came real close to a triple-double, 16, 10 assists, set you up a couple of times, too.
That's Damian. He could do a little bit of everything. He could score the ball, he could pass the ball, he could rebound, he could defend. He's an ultimate threat on the court, and we're just lucky to have a player of that caliber on our team.
Give me some insight into the confidence of this group. Obviously, you've had a little bit of a rough patch, but, I mean, we all think this is a group that's poised for a deep run in postseason. You guys still thinking that way?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there is any person, any player in the locker room that doesn't believe that we're a national championship team. I think you look across the whole country, you're seeing many teams with a lot of setbacks, many teams that were projected to do big things, losing to teams that are just simply stepping up to the game. And I think in the Big 12, you're seeing that as well. Kansas is losing a couple games that everyone thought they should be winning, and West Virginia, a couple games that people thought they were losing, they're actually winning. So it's just the testament to how the Big 12 is and how competitive this conference is.
Texas Tech winning the other day against Kansas State. That's a perfect example
it's
of it.
just anything can happen in this conference on any given day. So I just feel like if you don't come out and compete, anything can happen, and it will show towards the end of the game.
The thing I love about you is it looks like you have fun out there. I mean, am I right about that? I mean, whether it's practice, games, whatever, you just enjoy yourself.
I just think I'm a big person on living in the moment, and when I'm on the basketball court, I want to forget about everything that's going on. If I have any stress going on, any family situation, anything, I want to live in that moment and being there with my family, being there with my brothers. That's the ultimate best feeling for me, and I just want to indulge in that moment as best as I can.
Speaking of that, I mean, I wonder, did that change with the loss of your dad?
No, it really did. Just knowing that at a young age, I'm gonna have to step into that role for not only my brother, but for especially my little brother that's doing great things within the G League right now.
Right.
So losing my dad at such a young age, I knew that I'm gonna have to become a man faster than I would want to.
Right.
So knowing the presence he has on our family and what he has done, just knowing that I can fulfill what he would instilled within us, it's a great feeling, and I'm always gonna be willing to accept the challenge.
You've had some other men step up in your life, and you've been fortunate to that. One of those I know is Jamie McNeely, who's on the staff here. You guys are tight.
Man, that's like, he's not my uncle, but that's my uncle. If I talk to him, that's my uncle. I could talk to him about life. I could talk to him about basketball. I could talk to him about girls, relationships, anything.
You talked about Toronto?
Toronto. I just known him my whole life, and I know that is someone that he, regardless of what I do on the basketball court, I know that he genuinely cares for my well-being and also my family's well-being. And and I'm just grateful to have someone like him in my life.
And oh, by the way, pretty good at putting a scouting report together too.
Man, he's one of the best basketball minds in this game. Really underrated as well, because we know what he brings to this program. So we're just lucky and fortunate to have him in this program as well.
What do you do? What do you do in your downtime? What are you into? Are you into music, art? What are you into?
I'm really into fashion.
Are you?
And like clothes.
Yeah.
It's crazy we're talking about this because recently I've been talking to my brother and a lot of my friends about starting my own clothing line, starting to get into that. Not sure what it's going to be exactly, but moving more towards into that. So off the court, a lot of fashion, on the court, dog mentality.
Yeah. And are you designing stuff? Is that what you're?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to slowly transition to. It's a long process, you know, starting your own clothing, starting your own business, starting anything is always going to be a challenge, but this is something I've been always ecstatic about, so it's gonna be something fun.
Micah's kind of into that too.
Yeah. Me and Micah talked about it a lot. Micah's brother actually just started his own clothing brand. Patient Victory. So it's gonna be nice because me and Micah, we dominantly for everyone on the team. I think we like to express ourselves on that side of the field.
Right, yeah, and do a good job. I'm going to leave you with this. We talked about you having fun playing basketball. I get the sense that you like Fort Worth and you like TCU. Am I right about that?
Yeah, Fort Worth itself, its area, regardless of the TCU aspect, I think Fort Worth is such a great area, not only for marketing yourself, but also meeting great new people. I think everyone within this community truly just loves to live life and just loves to indulge in conversation, likes to engage in conversation. I think the people and the individuals that I've met since my time being here, I think I've met so many great people, and I've not only helped myself on the basketball court, but I've also met great partners outside the court as well.
Yeah, there's no question about that, man. Well, is there one thing you miss from Toronto?
The food.
Really? What?
I think because I'm my background, my ethnicity, I'm Jamaican, so I eat a lot of cultural food when I'm back home in Toronto. So just missing that aspect is something I truly do miss.
I got a Jamaican place I can take you to.
What Jamaican spot?
I'm going to take you to it. We'll go check it out, okay? All right, man. Emmanuel, thank you, man. By the way, leads the league in field goal percentage. This guy doesn't miss, 56% from the floor. Coming up next, we got more, including Coach Jamie Dixon looking ahead to what the week looks like for the Horned Frogs now with Iowa State and Oklahoma State. We'll do that when State of the Frogs with head coach Jamie Dixon continues after this timeout.
Texas-based Happy Water offers the best tasting sugar-free kids drink ever made. Happy Water comes in 4 delicious flavors that you can find at local retailers and on Amazon. Each pouch contains 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 0% juice. Head to happydrinks.com for more information and to purchase Happy Water. That's HAPI drinks.com. Live happy, be happy, drink happy. Say hello to the water of tomorrow. Richard's Rainwater. Richard's Rainwater is 100% rain, refreshing, renewable, and the only ingredient we use in our water. Why rain? Because everyone deserves access to clean water, and rain is a 100% renewable resource available everywhere. Drink the rain. Save the planet. Shop now at richardsrainwater.com.
The Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club or online at flyingtclub.com.
Welcome back into State of the Frogs. The Horned Frogs getting set for Iowa State now on Wednesday night up in Ames and Oklahoma State on Saturday. I know it's sacrilegious to say this in this league, but to me, Hilton can be the most difficult place to play in this league.
Well, I mean, it's the crowd. They're there early. They're there no matter what. The fans come out. Their students are there. They got a good group of a base.
Yes.
That's always there. Obviously, sometimes you may get some students without, but those public schools, those state schools, they all live right by at Christmas time and early January.
Yep.
So they're going to be there. And they have a lot of tradition. I guess it's been going on for a long time there, and I guess I remember reading up on Johnny Orr, and they turned it into a real show when he was there before my time. But that's kind of where it's. Iowa's a big basketball state. Always has been.
Always
will be.
Yep, 2-point game when these two met previously here at Schollmeyer Arena. It was a back and forth game. And the one that stood out about that game to me was the balanced scoring from Iowa State. They had 5 or 6 guys in double digits.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we kind of it was a physical game.
Yep.
It was a rough game, and it was a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
And they came down. We had a couple basket lead, but it was a tight game all the way through. I think we were down most of the game, but. We know what we got to do. They're gonna slow it down a little bit. They're gonna run clock on offense and try to, and then they're gonna really guard you on defense. I mean, they're gonna get in there. They're gonna be physical. They're gonna hold. They're gonna grab, and that's what you expect up there.
Yeah.
So
you talk about their defense. That first one, they forced like 18 turnovers, and I know you talked about that.
Yeah, that was a problem. In last game we're about where we need to be, but we've got to be low turnover team. Obviously, we're not a great 3-point shooting team. We don't shoot a lot of them. We got to keep getting our offensive rebound numbers up to where I thought they'd be. And then with that is that low turnover. So, you play to your strengths and you got to recognize them and understand what you're going to be. You're not going to be great. Nobody's great at all at every category. And but if you got to be a low turnover team, then you got to follow the plan. All
right, Oklahoma State then on Saturday. I know you don't like looking ahead too far, but the one that stood out about that was a fast start that Oklahoma State had up there.
Yeah. It was just, and then we came back and did our thing, and it's we got good teams. They got some guys that are going to make shots. You're going to have some guys that miss some open shots. Every game seems to go like that, and some runs, as we say. So they're very aggressive on the ball as well. Two similar teams, two similar type defensive teams. Watched them just play recently, and so we're going to get a lot of similarities.
I want to ask you about one other individual, and that's Jacoby Coles. His offensive efficiency. You look how it stacks up in the league. He's one of the best at it.
Yeah, no, he gets. We joke too that he gets up shots.
Yes.
He's one of the first shots per minute. He also scores well with the 5. We can play him there, and he seems to score even better there. And then obviously rebound defense. Are you giving something up? That's the question. But he's a hard matchup. He keeps getting better, and he's working on his defense. Watch his film on it, and we've just seen him getting better and better. Last year he was injured, coming off of surgery. Just a gradual process getting there, and then now he's really a threat for us, and he can had 3 assists in the last game too, with those 15 points. So again, he makes free throws. He can make a 3. He finishes well around the rim. He can make some mid-range shots. He really can do all things. And again, it creates a little bit of a matchup problem for guys.
He's another guy that's benefited from Gary Christopher, the strength coach, too. You see his body's change a little bit, kind of like Chuck O'Bannon.
Continuous process. We've got to constantly. You're never done.
Yeah.
And we keep working on it and want to be elite. That's the thing. You come in with some deficiencies, and your goal is to be elite as far as conditioning, body, physicality, body fat, all those things. We want them to be there, and that's what we're working on. We spend a lot of time on.
All right, best of luck on Wednesday
night.
All right.
Thank you, Brian.
At Ames, Iowa. Frogs taking on Iowa State, and then Oklahoma State on Saturday. We'll have highlights of those games coming back next week with State of the Frogs with the head coach, Jamie Dixon. I'm Brian Estridge. Thanks for joining us here today. Go Frogs.
Roxo Media House.